today we're going to be doing some scarifying and aerating, but can it be done at this time of the year? Is it worth doing? What are the risks? What are the benefits? I'm going to explain more in this video. Let's crack on. So you might remember this lawn. We've been coming here now for probably the best part of a year. I'm going to show you what we've got. You can see this lawn is looking pretty good. Now, we came here last year, we did a full renovation. I have to say, this is one of the best lawns that we come to. Customer really is into his lawn care. He's got a nice Allet mower and he just loves it. He just loves it. So it's great every time I come here to talk with like-minded folks. So as we step onto this lawn, we are sort of 9 o'clock in the morning. Things are very wet, things are very damp, and it's clay. And what that means is things can get boggy really easily. So I want to talk to you about the reasons why I'm scarifying and aerating this lawn, and a few things that we should be thinking about just to try and be careful with. So when are the best times to scarify and aerate? When should we stop scarifying and aerating at this time of the year? Normally I stop any sort of seeding work middle of October. That's always been my cut-off. However, on occasion, if the temperatures are still looking pretty good for the next few weeks, I've sometimes run into the week after, so like the third week of October. But you've really got to tread carefully. What we need is around 6 weeks after it's been done for it to recover. And that's what we need, for a lawn to recover, about 6 weeks of reasonable temperatures, a bit of watering for everything to recover. So in the middle of October is normally absolutely fine for any seeding work. It's a little bit different when you're scarifying and aerating. When we're scarifying, we still want it to recover, and it's still going to take about 6 weeks. But if you've got a lot of shade, I'd probably say forget about the scarifying, or just do a light scarify, because you don't want to go too mad, because it's going to really struggle with the lack of light and the shade to recover. Now, aeration you can carry out right through the year. You don't want to be going on the lawn when it's frosty, but it will help improve drainage. Now, especially in winter, lawns tend to get very wet and boggy. You've just got to be a bit careful when you're turning the machine round at either end, because it can churn up the soil. Because it's heavy and it turns on the ground, it can churn the soil and rip the grass out and make a bit of a mess. So we're going to crack on. We're going to scarify and aerate this lawn. It is on clay, so it does get wet, but we're just trying to keep it in a really nice condition for the customer.
People doing things they hate just to fit in. I know it's easier to get along peacefully, but have you ever thought about you? Don't know why I keep on doing what I'm told.
So another question I often get asked is, which order do you do it in? Do you scarify first, or do you aerate first? Well, it depends on the situation and the circumstances. It really does. But a lot of the times, it doesn't matter too much. You've just got to weigh up the pros and cons of each way. So if you scarify first, you're removing the thatch. And then when you come to aerate, your tines are closer to the ground. They're not having to go through thatch. And so you get a deeper aeration hole. If you haven't got a lot of thatch, you can aerate first. And then you can scarify and then clear it all up in one go. So it's a lot faster to aerate first and then scarify over the top. But with that approach, when it's wet and boggy, it's going to churn things up, because you're going over the soil twice. So you go over once with the aerator, and then you're going over again with the scarifier. And all of those are squashing all that soil, the aeration soil, back into the ground and just making it wet and boggy. Now, this lawn is fairly wet, although it is drying out. The sun is coming out, but it's still a bit wet on the damp. It's still a bit wet on the leaf. So I'm just going to go scarifying first, but steady. Now, the main thing is that at this time of the year, you don't want to be going too mad. You don't want to be ripping out the thatch from the lawn. If you rip out the thatch from the lawn, you're probably going to need to overseed. So at this time of the year, late autumn, but the temperatures have dropped nice and steady. We want to take enough out, but we've got to go careful with our approach, which basically means nice and steady. If you need to go in more than one direction, you can scarify in more than one direction, but just go steady. Don't go tearing through. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to crack on, get the scarifying done, and take it from there. Okay, so you might be looking at this and thinking, it's not really taking much out. You'd be right. It hasn't taken much out, and it's because it's been kept in good condition. And this lawn doesn't produce a lot of thatch anyway with the type of grass. But either way, it's doing quite well. So why have we scarified? Well, you can see there are some bits of grass and some bits of dead organic matter in there. And what it's done, it's just teased all those out, along with all the leaves. And that is just allowing the lawn to breathe. Because anything that's harboured within there is going to basically create wet conditions, which can lead to more disease and just problems down the line, which will eventually make the grass weak. But it's not just about getting thatch out and getting matter out, because what you're doing is you're creating grooves in the soil, and what those grooves are doing, they're cutting into some of the runners of the grass. So these grass shoots, you get rhizomes which are below the surface, and you get stolons as well, and basically these runners creep across the lawn, and every now and again you'll get a new blade of grass popping up. So when we run the scarifier over, we're cutting into those, and what it'll actually do, it will create some more grass. There's more come off than you can imagine, actually. Doesn't look like much, but that was in the grass, and there's no need for that to be there. So it's definitely worth doing, just to keep your lawn in tip-top condition, which is what we are trying to achieve here. Bulldog leaf rake. Top quality. I actually got some white ton bags this morning. Got them out my shed, put them at the side of the van, and I've left them at home. Thankfully, there's only these 3 piles. I have all these bags, which I've had for probably up to 2 years now, and I just reuse them. I'm getting old. Does anybody know a good chiropractor? Because I've been in pain since February. I was leaning over a counter and I sneezed. And it put me out of work for a week or two. Now, after a few days, it picks up. But then as soon as I get any of these machines out, it's back. And I've got pains around my lower back and abdomen. So it does go away, which tells me it's muscular, but I've done something. So I'm thinking either some good back stretches, improve my mobility, or I might need to go and see a chiropractor and get manipulated, which might be pretty good. But yeah, it's quite painful. It's lower back and lower abdomen, and it feels like it's right deep inside. And it does improve, but there's always been a bit of a niggle there ever since February. It never really goes away. I really ought to get checked out. Actually looks quite nice. If I were just scarifying, this is what it would be left looking like, and can't complain at that at all. It's done a really good job. You can see down this edge the grooves in the soil. So we've definitely gone deep enough. So now we need to aerate the lawn. So this is a drum type aerator. We've got a drum roller at the front and it's really heavy. And we've got the wheels at the back. And inside there, underneath that mesh, are all the hollow tines. Now they spin round and punch a hole in the ground and pull a core of soil out. And that improves drainage and helps to relieve compaction. Now, you also get these added weights here, which most of the time we don't need to use. But if the ground is quite hard and compacted, you can put one of these in and it will help the tines to go in that little bit deeper. But when the ground is already soft, the last thing you want to be doing is putting too much weight on, because it's just going to force everything lower to the ground and cause it to get very squelchy and wet and boggy. Okay, that's been aerated and managed to get into most of the corners quite easily. Now if you have got any corners which you can't get into with a machine, you can use a manual holotine aerator tool. This is the Wallen C. I have done reviews on several of these and this is pretty good. And you just put it in press down and pull, and there's your holes. If your lawn's not too big, you could just use one of these to cover your whole lawn, and it's worth doing once a year or at least once every couple of years. But that's it. Now I have brought the Pro Plugger with me. I've done a review on this. Now this is handy in a number of ways, specifically for planting bulbs. If you've got a very small weed grass, you can use this on top of the weed grass, push down and pull it all out, including the roots. I'm going to be trying this at some point on a very thick clay lawn as an aeration exercise, but we have here thick clay. And just to give you an example, now you've got these spacers here. You can go 2 inch, 4 inch, or the whole bar, which is 6 inch as a depth. And basically push down, bit of a twist and pull it out. And what you've created there is a nice deep hole which you can then fill with compost, topsoil, a little bit of gypsum, a little bit of humic acid, and over time it's going to improve the whole soil in the whole lawn. But it depends on the size of your lawn. If it's not too big, you could use one of these across the whole lawn. Now it is tapered at the bottom, it tapers narrow and it gets bigger, so in theory it should fall through and you can just pop them out the other end. But with clay, things do get a little sticky. So let's have a little look. Oh, there you go. A gentle push and it comes out. So actually, you could just keep pushing and you can see here what it's brought out. This so thick, squeezy, hard clay. You imagine thick rain trying to get down through that. It can't. It struggles to soak away. So it tends to form a puddle and become very boggy and very slow at draining. So we need to try and improve this soil by making these holes with an aerator machine or a manual aerator, or you could use one of these Pro Pluggers across your lawn and then fill with decent soil. So at least you're getting soil in and it's not just clay. So it will improve. And if you do it a couple of years, each year, eventually you'll make a massive difference to your lawn. It's going to be draining a lot easier. If you've got really thick, deep clay, like in new builds, you may want to go a lot deeper, and you can do that with an auger bit on a drill, like an SDS drill, or you can get a post hole borer. Now I have done a couple of videos on these, so I'll leave some links on the screen or in the description. But there's many ways to improve a lawn. I just wanted to show you what we can do with that. So for now, I'm just putting this back in because we're not doing any top dressing. But let's see what it's like doing multiple holes. So that's one. Twist and pull. We get two. Twist and pull, and we've got three. Twist and pull. Now that soil's inside. A normal soil lawn, there goes one, there goes two, and it's just the last one which just needs a bit of a push down. But thankfully, because it's tapered, it's quite easy to get out. But I'm really liking this tool. Really liking that for clay lawns. Okay, so what I need to do now, I'm going to get the blower. I'm just going to blow all the cores from one side of the lawn down to here and put them into a bag, take the waste away, and we're done. Okay, so that is how you do it without overdoing it. If you overdo it, your lawn's in a much worse condition. And in this situation where we've got the much colder temperatures, you don't want to be going too mad. You don't want to be going too mad at all. You need to take enough out, but you want to try and do it gently so there are less of the patches, because chances are any seeding will not fully germinate or will take much longer to germinate and leave an unsightly lawn that can get worse. So if you have any questions, comments, please leave them down below. Appreciate a thumbs up and a subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. It'd be great if you could. The next steps really are to get some autumn fertiliser on. I'll leave a video at the end that shows you how to apply fertiliser to your lawn. In that video it's all about spring fertiliser, but there is an autumn fertiliser version of that fertiliser, so I'll leave a link to that. And the other thing you want to be doing at this time of the year is putting a little bit of iron on from time to time, maybe once a month, once every 4 or 5 weeks, just to help the lawn through the next few weeks. Questions or comments, you know where to put them. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Have they gone? Has he gone? Has he gone? No, I'm still here. Right, so I've got these soil cores. I like to blow them because if you're raking everything, you're churning the grass up. You're raking the grass and you can be churning things up. When you blow, it gets every bit of debris out. It helps the grass to stand up and it just leaves it fresh and vibrant. So I like to blow as much as possible. I mean, this line here, where the cores were, some of the holes would have filled in and there'll still be a bit of debris scattered in this area. So really, you'd get the mower out and just give it a bit of a mow, but it's not too bad. The customer will be mowing in the next couple of weeks, so I'm quite happy. So I'm just going to get these picked up and we'll catch you on the next one.